their phones off. And I did.
Yeah.
And who was in the hot seat when the time came? Me. So we started out talking about what affirmative prayer is, and then we spoke on declaring boldly, and let me put this up here, boldly and praying big, praying boldly, declaring what it is that you want. And then last week we talked about really speaking as if it already is. Speak it like you mean it. And so today we're going to conclude this up with the idea of living the prayer, becoming the answer you've been asking for. Ooh.
Now here's what Paul said.
Living the prayer.
In the 1 Corinthians 13:11. He said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child, and I thought as a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. Okay? And so how many know that we need a grown-up God, one that empowers us to pray big? Well, what's the difference? Well, you know, children with their parents, when you're little, you beg, you plead, please, you know, I need this, I want that. Give me the blue one, not the red one. You know, I want chicken nuggets, not pizza. Right? And so a lot of us are like those little kids, and we haven't allowed ourselves to mature to a place to where we can embrace divinity from a more mature perspective. Say with me, uh-oh. We're going deeper this morning. Is that all right? Yeah. So can you imagine a little kid in a grocery store in the cart? He's crying his little eyes out because mama won't get them the cereal, you know, the one with all the sugar that he wants, right? Can you imagine Leah pushing me in a cart in a grocery store and me acting like a big baby, whining and complaining? Why can't I have the real cheese? And I have to eat the substitute cheese.
Why can't I have the blueberry pie?
What is mature spirituality? Mature spirituality is an act of self-responsibility. Let's say that word together. I know it's your favorite word. Responsibility. Right? Yeah. And so prayer becomes an affirmation of our faith and trust in our divine source. Rather than, you know, let's make a deal with the deity, right? It's, okay, God, I know what you want from me. You want me to be happy. You want me to live in joy. You want me to experience peace. Because I have to experience these things in order to be able to share them with others. Say, oh, that's pretty good, James. Thank you. All right? And so when I'm begging and pleading, it means I'm really not trusting. I'm really not trusting. Why? Well, because I don't want to grow up. You ever been there? The Peter Pan syndrome? You know, we want things to be the way they've always been. How many know that doesn't happen in this world? Everything changes because everything is evolving. We're evolving. You're evolving. If you're not evolving, what are you doing? It's a good question, isn't it? If we're not evolving, then what's going on with us? And so it's like trust. Let me get this out now.
Go ahead.
Don't forget what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
People think that trust is like, I trust a little more, I trust a little more, I trust a little more. But here's how trust or self-confidence or any of these things work. You either trust in the positive or you're trusting in the negative. Right? Because you believe, when you say, well, I just can't totally trust that, what you're really saying is, I don't trust that. You understand? Because it's 100%. It's fully engaged. You can't be halfway trusting. It's like, well, Leah, we're going to get married. I'm kind of going to trust you to be faithful to me, Maybe you might, right? That's not much. I'm not putting much faith in her, am I? You see how that works? And so confidence is 100%. Trust is 100%. I believe in my divine source. Now, it may take a while for you to grow into that, but it doesn't mean that you trust any less or more. How many understand that trust is a choice? It's a decision of your will. It's a decision of your mind that you make, and then you hold fast to it. Right? Yeah. And then it flows through you. But if you always say, well, I'm not into that. It's hard for me to trust. Well, that means you're not trusting. But it does mean you're trusting in something. You're trusting in not trusting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't trust. I'm saying that I don't, and that's what you're telling yourself. That's what you're teaching your subconscious. You're saying, I don't trust. So either God provides or God doesn't provide. See, we have to make up our minds and make it a choice and fully lean into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So this morning we're talking about taking the fifth principle of unity, which is I act. It's not enough to just know the truth. We have to live the truth. We have to put it into practice. So prayer is about not just stopping with the words, because that's not all prayer is, just having that moment when you sit quiet and you utter a prayer. It becomes real when it's lived out in our thoughts, our actions, our choices. We go back to last week's topic of living as though. So when you put something out in prayer, then you begin to act as if what you have prayed about is now happening, is now manifest. So prayer is a wonderful process of sitting and getting our thinking in a line with the divine mind, and then stepping away from that and living it out. Acting in accord with the prayer, thinking in accord with the prayer, making choices in accord with the prayer. And that's how our life becomes a living prayer. There's that wonderful song that we sing, our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying, and that is true. The thoughts that we nurture. Not every random thought that comes through is one that comes to fruition and manifestation. It's not a prayer. But those thoughts that we latch onto and we feed and we nourish are the ones that take hold and become our reality. So when we have prayed about something, it's important to remember to take that prayer into our thoughts, into our thinking, and into our actions and choices. That's the complete work of it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where the transformation really happens, is living the prayer.
You become the prayer.
Yeah.
You become the prayer, and you vibrate, what you want. Because you're speaking it, you're thinking it, you're acting it, you're putting it all together now. It is you. You are the prayer.
Yep.
Isn't that beautiful? You are the prayer. Let's say it together. I am the prayer.
I am the prayer. And James 2:17 says that faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith about the prayer, but if you don't put feet to it and do the action involved, then it's really not going to get you anything, right? You got to put the action behind it. Prayer without action is just words. Living the prayer is where the transformation really happens. Right. So prayer is the spark, but living it is what allows it to become the flame. So prayer is, the words are just the spark, and then living it, thinking it, acting it, choosing it, that's what really allows it to burst into this flame.
You know, it's just like our prayer chaplains. You know, when they're praying for someone, they're praying for somebody, they're helping to spark them. To spark them. How many know that sometimes it just takes a little inspiration?
Yeah.
You know, I know that Mark Twain said, he said, I could live on a good compliment for 2 weeks. Right? Somebody helps to raise your energy a little bit, you know, then you can live the prayer. You become the flame. You become the prayer. You know, you can live it because somebody has sparked you. They've inspired you.
Yeah. So Charles Fillmore said that one of the laws of mind is that man becomes like that with which he identifies himself. Shall I say that again? Yes. Man becomes that, like that, with which he identifies himself. Christ is the one perfect pattern. So in other words, to paraphrase that, man becomes the living word when he embodies the Christ idea. When we embody the Christ idea, we don't just talk about God, we become living expressions of divine truth. So prayer helps lift us up into that awareness, but it's the daily living it out and walking it out in shoe leather that proves it, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So a man was out of work, and every day he prayed, I receive the right and perfect job for me now. He prayed that faithfully, but he never left his house. He never filled out an application. He never told anyone that he was available. What do you think happened? Nothing. Finally, he heard a whisper in his heart, the doors are open, but you must walk through them. So prayer opens the path, but walking it is up to us. We have to walk the path.
Yeah, you got to put on your shoes, your prayer shoes, right? Because shoes represent living the prayer. It represents what? Action. You're taking what? Steps. You're moving forward. You're stepping into that which you believe in. If you're just sitting at home waiting for that perfect person to show up for you through like maybe UPS or Amazon, I don't know, can you find love that way? Maybe, I don't know. It's possible, I guess. But prayer is not complete until we put feet to it. If I pray for health, but I never move my body, what's going to happen to me? If I pray for abundance, but I'm not managing my resources very well, right? If I pray for peace, but I'm always stirring up conflict, all of these things are stifling, they're stopping my prayers from being effective. Does it make sense? Are you with us this morning?
It's like the runner who has the shoes. If she just has the shoes and she talks about running the marathon and that's all there is to it, she's not really a runner, is she? She's not really a
One of these days, boy, I'm going to run a marathon.
So a good question to ask yourself this morning might be, what shoes do you need to put on? What have you been praying about, asking for, that maybe you need to put into action. You need to put some shoes on it. What action can you take? What's your next step? What do you need to do? How do you need to act upon?
Love it.
Yeah. So prayer is like plugging a lamp into an outlet. It connects us to the source. So if you think of that plug on your wall as being source, God energy, and you're the lamp cord plugging in to it, the lamp doesn't light the room, however, just by plugging it in, does it? What do we have to do? We have to flip the switch and turn it on. So living
In the South,
prayer,
you mash the
the button. You mash the button.
And how many say mash? That's what we were
Yeah.
told. No, you're proving us wrong. How many have lived here all your life? Is it a Midwest? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's just what Leah told me.
So living the prayer is flipping the switch on, or mashing the button, however you want to say it. It's letting the light flow through us into the world. We are always, source is always there. We choose to plug into it. So we have that connection, and that's wonderful for us. And to let our light shine for others, we have to turn the lamp on. Otherwise, the connection is there, but the light that we are is hidden. So it's important to put the action to right thinking, right choices, right action to the prayer.
Yeah. When I was a little kid in Sunday school, we would sing the song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine." Hide it under a bushel? No. And I always thought, well, what does that mean? hide it under a bushel of what?
But didn't you do the little hide it under a bushel? No.
No, we didn't do hand movements at our church. So
Maybe that was a Midwestern thing. I don't know. Yeah.
all right, so there's a spiritual deepening that happens when you truly believe what you're saying, what you're praying. There's a deepening effect that happens because you're acting upon it. Because you so believe in it, you move from theory to embodiment. You see that? It's not just a theory. Well, I think that prayer works. No, I step into it and I become that prayer. And circumstances no longer dictate the truth because we walk in the assurance that Spirit has already answered. Even before they call, I will answer, it says. Mm-hmm. So living the prayer means acting as if it is already done. What does that mean? Taking the action when? Now. Right? Treating others. If you believe in a world of love and you want to see the world, become more loving and kind, then you need to treat others as if love is already established. Say it with me. Oh. Right? Love is now. I wish that people would straighten up so that we could all love each other. How many know that's not a prayer? That is not action. That is not a truth. The truth is love is now. And you are that love. And so you treat each other now in love and in kindness and in care and concern. You give it and you receive it. How many know it's an active situation? It is a spiritual what? Practice. How many here always wanted to play the piano? Like some famous piano player, Liberace or Billy Joel or somebody. I don't know. And so, but you never practice. Maybe once in a while. I remember I was at a church one time, and there was this gentleman who was this fantastic piano player. And I was using him as an example. I said, how many years have you been playing? He said, 30 years. And I said, how many times a day do you practice? He said, well, in the beginning I practiced 6 hours a day. He said, now I only practice 3 hours a day. And so I said, okay, if anybody wants to play like Richard does, then you will need to play 6 hours a day for 30 years. And then you can shave it down to 3 hours after a while. You understand? So you have to be willing to do what you need to do in order to get what you need to get. Does that make sense? Yeah. We need to give thanks as if abundance is already here. You appreciate what you already have. Oh my goodness, I have the clothes on my back. I have the car in the driveway. I have the home that I live in. I've got a bed that I sleep on most of the time. Right? I have all of this wonderful stuff, and I'm so very grateful. And I have a beautiful and loving wife who never lets me forget. No.
I thought I would be at the top of that list, but hey, okay.
I was just, speaking in generalities. But if you want abundance, you have to appreciate what you already have. Yes. Instead of whining, complaining about what you don't have. Oh, I wish we had that. I wish we had that. No. That is your prayer. You don't want to pray that way. You want to pray, I affirm my good now. And I'm so appreciative. I have legs to walk around. And I have a nose that I can smell when the chocolate chip cookies are being baked. You understand what I'm talking about? Anybody here? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I am the vibration of having it now. I have it now. Many people are time travelers. Do we have any time travelers here? We travel back into the past. Well, it didn't work back then. I remember. I tried that there prayer one time. Didn't work. Why should it work now? Or they time travel into the future. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not going to happen for me because good stuff never happens for me. Right? That's what you call time traveling. Time traveling. Yep. So what do we need?
I think we need inspired action. Inspired action.
Oh, that's a good word, yeah.
So not just action to keep yourself busy, but what are you inspired? What action are you inspired to take? So consider for a moment maybe one thing, one need that you've been holding. Now underneath, contemplate one inspired action that you could take this week to live out that prayer. What's one inspired action that you could do? For example, if you're praying for health, maybe an inspired action would be to take a daily walk, right? If you're praying for abundance, maybe an inspired action would be to give away something or speak blessings over your bank account, because as you give out, you receive. If you're praying for peace, maybe an inspired action would be to forgive someone or to practice silence. This is how we move from words to work, from prayer to power. So when you go to have prayer with a prayer chaplain here following the gathering, you're going to tell them briefly what it is that the need is. And the prayer chaplain listens with an open heart, listening for that intuitive, divine guidance to pray an affirmative prayer that meets that need. And it may not be, you may be asking for prayer for healing, but maybe what they really intuit is that you need peace of mind. You need to be at peace with what is. So maybe incorporated in that prayer of healing, there's going to be a mention of peace of mind. And when you leave your time with the prayer chaplain, that's your opportunity to put inspired action to what has been affirmed for you in that time with them. Because what they're really doing is they're sitting with you and they're speaking words and affirming the truth of who you are. Sometimes when we get in the midst of chaos in our lives and things are going on, we forget. We forget that we are divine beings. We forget who we are. And so when you sit with a prayer chaplain, it's the opportunity to be reminded, oh yeah, I am that. Now, what's the inspired action that I need to take from here and go do? Because just having that time with the prayer chaplain is wonderful. It feels wonderful. There's great energy in it, and you go away feeling better than you did when you sat down, but it's not over, right? You need to put the action to the prayer. So a woman once said that she'd been praying for a new job, and for months nothing happened, and she was getting discouraged. So one day she said, you know what? I'm going to act as if it's already done. And so she bought herself a small bouquet of flowers and she wrote a thank you note to God. And she danced around her house declaring, I've got the perfect job. I've got the perfect job. And within 48 hours, she got a call, the call. And she didn't change her words. She'd already done the praying, but she changed the action and she changed the frequency. And she came from the as if. That's good stuff. Yeah. So let's say together, I embody the prayer I have spoken.
I embody the prayer I have spoken.
I walk in bold faith.
I walk in bold faith.
I live in divine alignment.
I live in divine alignment.
My life is the living answer to my prayer.
My life is the living answer to my prayer.
Take a breath of that.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, Teresa of Avila wrote, Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which divinity reveals compassion to the world. Think about that. So when we live our prayers, we become the hands, the feet, and the heart of the Christ, of God in this world. Prayer begins in spirit, but it finds its fulfillment in us and through us. Does that make sense? Do you see how all this works together? If you're just saying a bunch of words, then you're missing out on what prayer is really about. It is coming through you, right? Acting upon what you believe. So, final thought. Let's be people who pray big. Let's say together, pray big.
Pray big.
Don't you love that? Who live big.
Live big, yes.
Who walk in bold faith. And live as the answered prayer. Isn't that great? So I'm answering my own prayers here. Because I'm getting in line and in step with it. I'm acting on, what Spirit is telling me to do in the moment. And sometimes it's just a little whisper. It's just a little thought. It's just a little feeling. This, go this way, go that way, do this, do that, right? And that's how we let our life shine. For you are the living word of truth in action. Let's take a moment to breathe. And just pay attention to the moment. Notice the subtle shift when we get quiet. The expectancy begins to happen. The possibility, the many possibilities when we pray. What could happen? What prayer are you willing to live out, to be? Are you willing to shine your light? What is it that you desire, that you feel maybe your purpose, something that you've been called to do? So just breathe. Right here, right now, I pray. So let's go ahead and plug in. You might say, well, James, how do you plug in? You get quiet. And in the stillness, Spirit arises. Spirit always comes. Because Spirit is already there, we just begin to notice. We begin to sense the closeness, the presence. Allowing God to wrap God's arms around you and hold you and love you in the way that you need to be loved. Can you allow that this morning? What is it that you need in your life? So I affirm for you divine health and healing. I affirm that the pain cease. And the feelings of good begin to increase. I am well. I am whole. Will you allow yourself to lean into that, to affirm it? Then every day do something that represents your belief, your prayer. Perhaps you know someone that needs prayer this morning. Sometimes we don't know what they need, but Spirit does. Spirit knows exactly what they need. So I invite you to bring them into your awareness now. Maybe whisper their name. Maybe it's a family member or a friend or a neighbor down the road. Whoever it is, just bring them into this moment. And just hold them in this space of love, appreciation, and gratitude. And Spirit knows what to do. but by just you holding them and honoring them and speaking their name, you're sending love and light and awareness to them now through the Spirit. So we affirm your highest and best. You are loved and held in this moment. We're grateful for our spiritual community, for each one, for all of us here in this room and those that are online watching right now. Know that you're not alone. You're never alone. Spirit is there. Spirit is here. Spirit is everywhere present. Always. You can access Spirit from any location, from any place, at any time. You can plug in. So let's take a moment now to think about our prayers that we've prayed. Maybe you've been praying about something. Just take a moment just to feel your gratitude and your appreciation. If you need or you'd like to see more abundance in your life, just give thanks for the abundance that you do have. Oh, how wonderful. I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. And so I invite you into the silence for just a moment. Sweet communion. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. In the name of the Christ and all that's sacred, holy, beautiful, and good, we say, so be it. And so it is. All right. Okay. Take a moment to reach and stretch. Feeling alert, feeling awake, feeling good.